Hello, and welcome back to episode 4. So, today I'm going to be talking a bit on authenticity, and I'll touch obviously on trauma as well because this affects you not showing up authentically. So, um, if in I'll start with obviously trauma. When you experience trauma, it literally changes your brain. It changes the neural connections, it changes parts of your brain, and this is stored in our DNA, in our genetics, the epigenetics, and this is what generational trauma is. It's literally stored in epigenetics in your DNA, and it's passed down and down and down generations. So, say in childhood, you showed up authentically and you got rejected or abandoned for showing your authentic self, what happens is your child self feels that it's not safe to express authentically or show up authentically, and therefore the trauma response to that is to wear a mask, which is being inauthentic. Being inauthentic, showing up as not your true self, not expressing yourself authentically, and this happens because your child self doesn't feel safe. Um, yeah, maybe they got rejected or abandoned for showing up authentically. So when this happens, you move through life with being inauthentic because of this trauma that you experienced. What we don't understand as children or when we're younger, so say you experienced rejection or abandonment, you're as a child you internalize everything. So everything that you experience, it's not because your child self and their brain can't understand that other people have trauma and or other people are bad people. What your child self does is it internalizes all of that. So your child self thinks, okay, I got rejected or abandoned because I'm inherently bad, when that's not true. But obviously when you're young, as a child, especially between the ages of 2 and 7, your brain, you're so impressionable, you're like a sponge, you absorb everything. It's like crucial developmental years. So when you end up feeling like inherently bad, and that's where shame and stuff comes in as well. But obviously the child self doesn't realize that it's not a reflection of them. It's just they had their whoever it was, they had trauma, and it's the cycle repeating. Obviously your child self doesn't understand that at that age. Your child self internalizes all of these experiences and comes to the conclusion that it's because I'm bad internally, when that's not the case at all. Um, but this is the only way that your child self was able to cope at that age, and with all the trauma that it experienced. So oh yeah, obviously I've explained that the third dimension, this 3D external reality, is just a reflection of our internal, and until we heal our trauma, and a lot of this is unconscious, it's in the subconscious mind, so we aren't consciously aware of this until it's conscious, but we are operating subconsciously. The subconscious is like 95% of the brain, and our behaviors, traumas, thoughts, beliefs, everything is subconscious, and it's built on trauma. So when 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 you go through this trauma, like I said, if it totally affects your brain and the neural connections and stuff like that. So because of the trauma that we've experienced here, abandonment, rejection, we this is what we believe we are worthy of. And because we've experienced that abandonment and rejection, we then, because that's what was modeled to us, that's how we were treated as a child, and we internalize that, and in turn end up rejecting and abandoning ourselves because it's not safe to be ourselves because of the trauma that we experienced. So when you grow up as an adult, obviously all of this is unconscious, and we experience abandonment and rejection in many different forms as an adult in our external reality. This is because we internally are abandoning and rejecting ourselves, and that is projected into the third dimensional reality. So everything you experience in your 3D reality is a reflection of the internal. This includes everything, literally everything, can be down to money, connections, literally everything. So what we have to do is build self-acceptance, self-trust, and when you love and accept and trust yourself wholeheartedly, fully, once you peel back every one of these layers of trauma and wounding, you get back to your soul essence, which is just true unconditional love. Um, so once you peel back these layers and these woundings and this trauma, you get to a place of sovereignty when you don't need anything external, you don't need external validation, um, you don't need anything outside of yourself, and you've built that self-trust, that self-acceptance, and that foundation where you can show up authentically. Oh my god, this little magpie. Um, yeah, where you can show up authentically, because you don't need anything external to validate anything for you or to rely on or to make you feel needed or wanted or worthy. You get that from within. So there's going to be a lot more awakening these next few years, and this is when people are going to have to sit with their darkness, and only then will the darkness in the collective, in the world, will start to dissipate. Once you dissipate the darkness internally first, it can then be reflected into the external. To be able to show up authentically, you have to accept and love yourself, because only then will it feel safe to show up authentically. And this is just a reminder that the way other people treat you is a reflection on them. You don't need to internalize it. A lot of the time they're operating from this wound and this trauma, and that gets projected out to other people. So don't take anything too personally. Don't absorb other people's energies, and create that safety and self-love and self-acceptance within, because that's the only way that you're going to be able to show up authentically in this 3D reality. This is why authenticity and courage go hand in hand, because it requires you to embrace yourself fully, live and speak in your truth. And when we are constantly hiding or seeking approval or dimming ourselves or whatever it is, or people pleasing, this you're building a foundation on inauthenticity and relying on external things. And when something is built on that, it'll always fall. That, like, confidence that you've built, it's not real confidence when it's built on this false truth, this false narrative, sorry, not the truth. And that's why it'll always crumble. That's why it becomes fragile, because it's tied to approval and validation from other people instead of self internally. I'm just going to leave it there. I'm going to pull a card actually, hang on. I haven't got the little clip. One sec. So today's card is strength. And this ties into authenticity, because you have to build a strong foundation to be able to show up authentically, you have to have that strength, internal strength, and for it not be able to waver from anything. Yeah, I'll leave it at that. Okay, bye. Thank you for watching. If this content resonates, please do check out my website. It's consciousnesswithchloe.com, and you can join the Inner Alchemy Collective. I have a lot of very exciting things coming up, so stay tuned.